The Dunes Club, home to more than 7 decades of the Grand Strand's best golf, and where the land meets the sea.
And just days from today, the course will write a new chapter in its history book, with tens of thousands of people coming to the first ever Myrtle Beach Classic PGA Tour event.
But before we can turn that page, let's take a look at what brought us out here today.
This is Classic Countdown.
Classic Countdown, a WMBF sports special, sponsored by these local businesses.
Hey everybody, and thank you for joining us this evening. I'm WMBF Sports Director Dave Ackert, and myself and our Tegan Brown will be breaking down everything that you need to know about the upcoming Myrtle Beach Classic. And with just 3 days left to go until that very first tee time. And like we've mentioned before, this is going to be the Grand Strand's first ever PGA Tour event, something that's been a long time coming for a place so popular among golfers from around the entire world. I sat down with tournament director Darren Nelson to learn more about exactly what helped bring more than 100 of the world's best golfers right here to Myrtle Beach. Check it out. Myrtle Beach has been known for so long as the golf capital of the world. People so excited about this event. What kind of, maybe over the last years, has Dunes had to have with turning this area into such a golf-centric place?
Yeah, I think, you know, this community, this market, the Grand Strand was ripe. It was time to host a PGA Tour event. So back in 2022 is when the conversations first started. And it took about a year to get things going and off the ground. But yeah, how fitting that the golf capital of the world now has a PGA Tour event at a great golf course like the Dunes Golf and Beach Club in the golf capital of the world. So it's all coming together, and it makes a lot of sense to host one of these events here.
One thing I thought of that I thought might be really interesting for fans is this I mean, this is a brand new event. You know, usually you get places like the Masters and things, the green jacket. There's always something, a trophy presentation at a lot of places. What goes into creating a brand new trophy, designing a brand new trophy? Who's making it? I mean, what can you say that goes into that kind of a process?
Yeah, with the first year event, to your point, there's lots of things like that you have to basically build from scratch. So we've worked with Visit Myrtle Beach and the Chamber, our title sponsor, to come up with a fun, unique trophy that I think everybody's going to enjoy seeing. So we worked a little bit with Brook Green Garden on a design. The kind of pull back the curtain a little bit, it's the shape of a wave basically on the top of it, and it sits on a base. So we're really sitting here on the Atlantic Ocean. We felt like the ocean is obviously a centerpiece of this event. So we look forward to showcasing the trophy during tournament week out here. And then a couple of other fun things we're looking at. To your point, some other events do, a winner's jacket. We are going to have a winner's jacket, so it's actually in design right now, and that will be displayed or premiered, I guess, on the 18th green come Sunday of tournament week.
Have you heard from players at all if there's a background on excitement for this area? Obviously, they go to other places for the purse or for the history of an event, but with a new event, it's kind of the location here. It's Myrtle Beach. Anyone that's, hey, I golfed there growing up, I grew up there, early in my career. Is there any extra interest maybe in the area just because it seems like anyone who's a golfer has or golfed in Myrtle Beach or knows at least someone who has?
What I found is everybody has a Myrtle Beach story. I went there, whether it was with your family as a kid or you came on a buddy's golf trip, whatever it is. But I have talked to some PGA Tour pros and like, oh yeah, I played in the Hackler, the collegiate event back in the day, or I came with my family. So yeah, I think the fact that it's Myrtle Beach and it's a destination, a lot of players have been here before, I think definitely does, pique their interest on playing in this tournament. One, if they have those memories, want to come maybe make new memories with their family.
While tens of thousands of people here in the Grand Strand prepare to attend the Classic as spectators, 132 golfers are making their final tweaks to their swings, aiming for glory over at the Dunes Club. While we can't cover everyone competing in this year's event, we did sit down with Golf Channel analyst Steve Bowski to learn more about the field and potential favorites to win it all.
Justin Lauer, 35 years of age. He's never won on the PGA Tour, but he's made 10 of 13 cuts heading into the event in Texas last week on the PGA Tour, but a couple of strong finishes, tied for third in Mexico, tied for fourth in Punta Cana. I think Justin Lauer, one of these days, is going to break through, get on the other side of that finish line, and perhaps the week upcoming here in Myrtle Beach might be the time for him to do it.
But there are a couple of dark horses in the mix that he says you don't want to count out.
Ryan Fox, the 37-year-old from New Zealand, he's 57th in the official world golf ranking, coming off a tie for 4th in New Orleans at the Zurich team event. He's a world-class player, has had success. Also, David Skins, 42 years of age from England, a couple of top 7 finishes. He's had opportunities at Palm Beach and Houston to finally win for the first time on the PGA Tour. Hasn't happened yet. Maybe he gets it done in South Carolina this go around. And Matty Schmid, 26-year-old German, about 6'3", 6'4", moves the ball a country mile. There was a stretch during the season. He's made 6 straight cuts on the PGA Tour. 4 of those finishes inside the top 25.
The entire field of players is going out there with the hope of winning this inaugural PGA event. But Burkowski says they have to have the right mindset.
It's an opportunity for maybe life-changing, career-changing possibilities over 4 days and 72 holes. You know, when you go up against the best in the world each and every week, you have that chance. But you look at this Myrtle Beach, a first-time event, and you say, okay, we're in May now. The FedEx Cup season, we're on the back half of it. You better get your points to keep your card or make the playoffs. So everyone has different goals. You know, some people already have their card locked up for next year. Hey, let's go for it. Let's go try to win. Where maybe somebody that's 145th in the FedEx Cup standings, they're getting nervous. I need to make a cut. I need to make a paycheck. I need to gain some of those points. So there's such a sliding scale for those out there. But I've always said it every week out there, life-changing opportunity. So I can assure you, I think there's 132 in the field. There's 132 guys teeing it up on Thursday saying, I've got an opportunity to do something special. All that being said, it guarantees you nothing. You still have to get around a golf course that likely many haven't seen, and it should prove to be a fun 4 days.
Among the more than 100 golfers in the events field, perhaps no one is as big of an underdog as Matt Atkins, the winner of the first ever Q at Myrtle Beach. The South Carolina native defeated 15 other competitors, including popular golf YouTubers and aspiring PGA pros, in an 18-hole shootout at TPC Myrtle Beach in Murrells Inlet. That ended in a dramatic playoff. And while Atkins has ties to the upstate as a USC Aiken graduate, he tells us the Grand Strand has a special place in his heart, and he's excited to represent the Palmetto State out on the course.
Myrtle Beach was a place that my family would vacation every year, and that's kind of where I would only play golf on vacation. Really, I was too busy playing other sports. So it's kind of a cool, like, full circle thing for me to be playing in the first Myrtle Beach Classic at a place that I would say, you know, is kind of where I learned how to play, or where I first played golf, like, for real, I guess. So
Atkins also played on the Corn Ferry Tour, where he won the 2017 Mexico Championship. This week will mark his 4th ever PGA Tour start since 2019.
Now let's go back out to the club for a preview of what the golfers might expect from this demanding course, as we got a chance to get out on the links with the director of golf at the Dunes Golf and Beach Club, Dennis Nickel. So let's jump in a cart and see what might lie ahead. What can you give us an inside scoop as we're going to take a little tour of the course here? What goes into something like this? I mean, just getting ready for an event like this.
Yeah, honestly, thank you for having us.
Yeah.
But you know, people have no idea behind the scenes what has to happen to run an event like this. PGA Tour event, it's as big as you can get, right? I mean, all the tours out there, we've hosted some big events in the past, but this is kind of the pinnacle. So it started a year ago with planning. The golf course went through some major renovations last summer. We can talk about a few of those as we go. But yeah, obviously behind the scenes with all the sponsor sales, the tickets, the transportation, the volunteers, we're about to get to the 17th hole where we've started the build out, what we call the build out, and that started about 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
And it's a process of building all the sponsor tents, the grandstands, everything that's going to, concession stands, everything that the spectators are going to see out here during the time.
Does that 17th where, you know, it's like almost like a VIP experience for some fans, if tickets might even still be available for
Yeah,
them,
absolutely. There's multiple different options. Obviously, the initial plan, I think, was we were just going to have a few thousand people, and we are going to wrap the 18th green with some sponsor tents, and that was going to be it. Well, the response has been so huge from this community that ticket sales have been off the charts. I think everybody is actually a little surprised, but not really. Us in the golf industry here kind of knew that this is a golf town, golf capital of the world. So,
People would be interested.
So we knew, but I think everybody from the outside looking in said, "Holy cow, they're selling a ton of tickets." So we just started adding a whole, another sponsor area on 17, Club 17, which we're pulling up to now behind the 17th tee. All the sponsor tents, the bleachers, we've really multiplied it out tenfold compared to what the initial plan was. I think this is going to be something that when we go live on the Golf Channel and that first drone hits this golf course, I think we're going to stun the world with what we have here at Myrtle Beach.
So we're kind of cruising along in a golf cart right now. The players, for maybe fans at home that aren't avid golf watchers, they don't get to cruise around in carts. They have to walk this thing.
Yeah.
A long stretch here, but it's a beautiful course. I mean, maybe explain to people what we're looking at when we're coming up to the famous Alligator Alley here.
Yeah, so if they go off the back 9, number 10 is a par 4, and once you come off the 10th hole, that's kind of the stretch now we call Alligator Alley, which is number 11, which we're sitting on now. Beautiful golf hole. Used to be a little short par 4 straight away with some palm, right where those palm trees are, the green used to be. In 1992, built an entire peninsula out into the Swash. Singleton Swash comes in from the ocean, so now it's a dogleg right hole. It's a great golf hole. Difficult, it's because it's a peninsula too, so when the wind's blowing, it's very hard to kind of hit that spot. We've lengthened it off the tee a little bit longer, and the players here, a par is a good score on this hole. Obviously, you're walking off, and then once we come off of the 11th hole, we go to number 12, which is a par 3, beautiful par 3 over the Swash. It's just a great setting. You got all the wildlife there, and you're kind of playing into the hole. It's very, very peaceful to play the 12th hole, but it's not a big green, so you should make a birdie or a par there for most of the players. But then they step on the 13th, which is Waterloo, and for the average player, that's a difficult golf hole, right? It has all the elements of intimidation, difficulty, par 5, 640 yards from the back tee. But like I said, the tour players are probably going to just knock a little 3-wood down to the corner where the water is, hit their next one up near the green or just short of the green, flip a wedge on, or try and make a birdie putt from there. Won't be a ton of eagles on 13, but could be a lot of birdies and pars. But that's the stretch of Alligator Alley: a par 4, par 3, and a par 5. It's going to be one that a lot of people want to watch. But there's some other holes out here. Number 14 is one we got to watch. So you come off the 13th hole, which everyone thinks is going to be the hardest. They go to 14, which will be 503 yards into the wind, a firm green. It's really a tough hole to play, and I think you're going to find that's going to be one of the hardest ones out here.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Number 7's another one on the front 9 that's just a little, in everybody's mind, a short par 4 that really should just be a driver and a mid-iron or short iron into the green, but the green's so narrow, the hole locations are difficult. It just always plays as one of the more difficult holes. 10, the start of the back 9, depending on where the hole location is, if you put it front left of the green, it's almost impossible to get close to that hole. So a lot of false fronts on these greens, so when we speed them up, if the ball doesn't carry all the way to the middle of the green, it'll roll right back off the front, and then they'll have to chip. So there's some certain areas out here that we, as myself playing, or any of our members or guests that play, we kind of know where you need to avoid, but some of the players will have to figure out that during tournament week.
I asked about the most difficult hole. What might be like the most flexible hole, and most beautiful, I think, would be an easy one, is the one we already talked about, the iconic Waterloo. But is there an easier or flexible hole for anybody?
Number 8 is going to play as a par 4 this year. It plays as a par 5 for us on daily play.
Oh, wow.
But the tour felt that we're actually going to use the 8th tee as the second tee. We're going to turn it around and play down the second hole.
Okay.
And so we built a brand new tee box on 8. So 8's going to be a par 4. So that's kind of a wild card hole that we've never played it from there before.
Oh, wow.
So we don't know how the players are going to play it. So we don't know what kind of scores are going to come on that hole, but it's going to play difficult. It's just an awkward green because it's built for a par 5, not necessarily a par 4. So it's going to be an interesting play to see how they score there. The par 5s out here where you have to score. Our 4th hole, definitely you got to make a birdie or eagle there. The 13th hole, we talked about Waterloo. It's difficult for the average player, but for the tour players, they're hoping to make a birdie, worst case par, walk off of there. And then the 15th hole will definitely, our other par 5, they got to make a birdie there, or possibly eagle. So they're going to, those are the ones where they have to score every day. Par 3s, you hope to kind of get out of those with just even par. Maybe you throw in a birdie there. And then really this course is the par 4s, how it's going to separate the field, depending on how they score on the par 4 holes.
So we took our tour through the famous Alligator Alley and heard what the pros are going to need to do if they want to separate themselves from the pack, if they want to be in the hunt for a trophy come Sunday. Welcome back to Classic Countdown here on WMBF News. We're going to continue our tour of the golf course before the players arrive to see what might be in store come that first tee time on Thursday morning. So once again, here's myself and the director of golf at the Dunes Club, Dennis Nickel.
So I think too, when people might Google the course or just trying to get a feel for it, it says that this course emphasizes iron play. You know, I think on a PGA Tour though event, you always hear the guy saying you got to drive well, you got to iron, you know, you got to putt well.
Yeah.
Short game has it. You know, you really have to be good at everything. But is there something that they need to focus on here?
Yeah, so for these, it's a Robert Trent Jones senior golf course. So the design itself is, they talk about risk-reward type of design that he always puts in. But the trick out here is every green's elevated, right? Everything's pushed up with crowns, false fronts, bunkers cut into the big flashed up face bunkers.
Okay.
So there's not a lot of running something up onto the green. You have to carry it onto the green, let it stick. You got to bring it in high and soft. So that's where the iron argument comes from.
Okay.
If you're a good iron player, they can kind of attack the whole locations no matter where they're at. But if you do miss a green, you got to be pretty good with your short game around here because, like I said, if it hits, it'll kick down off the green or go into a bunker. Big flashed up faces with tuck pins, hard to get to because the green might be running away from you. Okay. So it depends if you short side yourself versus you have room to let the ball roll up to the hole. So there's a lot of that in the Robert Trent Jones design that players have to take into consideration. Obviously, off the tee, it's going to play over 7,300 yards, so length is important, like it always is at every tournament. But but these guys hit it so far anymore, you know. But you know, some of the holes you can attack with a shorter iron coming in, but others, like I said, you almost need to just aim for the middle of the green and then take your medicine and two putt and get out there with the par. So it'll be interesting. Again, if the wind blows, that's going to create a whole nother component to the scoring out here that they're going to have to take into consideration. But if it's calm and a nice day, the players with the best iron play will probably make the most birdies. So we're driving down the fourth hole right now.
Okay.
Par 5 again. This one is you know, sharp dogleg left off the tee. You're going to hit over a couple bunkers and then bring in kind of a mid to long iron into the hole in 2. Some guys will lay up short of the bunkers if they're not a long hitter off the tee and then have to lay up short midway through the pond here to make the birdie or par. Okay. There'll be a ton of eagles and birdies and pars here. I don't foresee too many people making a big score here on this par 5. So after starting on holes 1, 2, and 3 are 3 difficult par 4s. 1, 2, and 3 coming out of the chutes are going to be a really tough start. You kind of catch a break here on 4 where you have to kind of make a birdie or eagle to kind of get back in the game if you made a bogey on one of the first 3 holes. And then number 5 that we're driving over to is a great par 3, long par 3, big green, but you can't see it from the tee because it's elevated. So depending on the hole location, it makes it a little more difficult. But 5's not an easy tap in. Number 6 is a really hard par 4. We already mentioned number 7 that we played earlier is kind of a sneaky par 4 with a very narrow green. And then 8, which used to be another break on a par 5, is now playing as a long par 4.
Oh, yeah, wow.
So you don't even get the break there. And then you get to number 9, the par 3, which is the finishing hole that actually looks out over the ocean when you're standing on the green. So our famous 9th hole par 3, which is a little odd for most golf course design to have a par 3 finish a 9.
Oh, wow.
But that's how it's been here since 1948 here at the Dunes Club. So the 9th hole being a par 3 right by the ocean is a great finishing hole, and I think we'll have a lot of activity with spectators standing around that hole watching them finish there. So
you mentioned the tough start on 1, 2, and 3. I compare it to the Masters, obviously that's fresh on our minds, where that almost, they say, is an easy start on 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how, for a golfer's almost mentality, starting with 3 tough holes right away, if you fall behind, I mean, what do you have to do on 4 to kind of reset A?
Yeah, that's the issue you have here is, as soon as you hit that tee shot, you got to be locked in, right? You got to be ready to play. You can't just, all right, I'm going to kind of feel my game out and see if I can make a par or birdie or something. I mean, if you go to sleep off the first 3 holes, you can be 3 over just like that, and now you're playing catch up the whole day, trying to feel like you gotta get back in the game. So yeah, I think the starting 3 holes are going to be a great indication early on of who's. And when we double tee on Thursday and Friday, you got to start on 10, 11, 12, and 13 as well. You got to go right through Alligator Alley your first 4 holes. So there is no break for those that get to start off the back 9. Arguably, sometimes it's even harder to start off the back because if the wind's blowing, there's not a lot of trees to block it there on the back 9. So you could have some difficulty, off either side those first 2 days.
Seeing the transition over the past few weeks has really been breathtaking. How much work, like he said, that's gone into it is really astonishing. And just learning the types of things from even the types of grass that they're going to use to just all those little details. I think he's right. When the world tunes in on Thursday, I think it's going to be incredible. But we're not done just yet. We're going to take a look here at what you, the fan, are going to experience in just a moment.
The tournament itself is taking center stage at the Myrtle Beach Classic, but there are plenty of supporting roles you don't want to miss. First, Wednesday's official Pro-Am, where celebrities will hit the links with the pros. Tournament organizers are keeping the list of players under wraps, but we do know North Myrtle Beach native and the iconic face of Wheel of Fortune, Vanna White, is on the list. It's a live draft the night before to see which two pros those celebs will team up with.
So if you're familiar with the NFL draft style, it'll be very similar to that, where your number pops up, you're on the clock, you pick which pro you want to play with, and then you pick your pro, and then you're done. So it's a really unique, fun event.
And it's not just bragging rights and a once-in-a-lifetime experience up for grabs. The top 3 players will go home with gift packages. The first tee times begin at 7 on Wednesday morning, and the gates open to you at 6:30. Then be sure to look up as the Army drops in. The Golden Knights parachute team is making a special appearance Thursday night, performing daring drops, formations, and baton passes before landing on the beach. You can watch about a dozen of those award-winning skydivers do the impossible for free with a ticket to the Classic, starting at 5 o'clock that night. But don't leave in a hurry. Once the Golden Knights return to solid ground, it'll be time for music to fill the air. The first of 2 concerts is set for Thursday night on the Ocean Lawn. South Carolina natives, the Swingin' Medallions, they're going to bring down the house with beach music at 6 o'clock. Then taking the stage Saturday night will be the country music duo best known for their song, Are You Gonna Kiss Me or Not? Thompson Square. Something you should also keep an eye out for are the 9 charities that the tournament will be benefiting. All of them are local to the Myrtle Beach area. The Boys and Girls Club of the Grand Strand, Championship Autism Network, the Children's Recovery Center, Classy Smiles, Helping Hand of Myrtle Beach, Help for Kids, Project Golf, SOS Care, and Blue Star Mothers of Coastal Carolina. We caught up with one of the charities on Media Day, all about what it was like to be chosen out of all the ones that had applied.
I think it's great because sometimes they're the ones forgotten, you know, and they're the ones that have to work the hardest for every donation they get. And so it's good. It's very good. It's all local.
But how do you get to the course to see all of the action and fun? Well, don't worry, because there are shuttles running to and from the course all day throughout tournament week. Your first step is parking at the Old Myrtle Square Mall. Parking passes are $15 per day, and there are no weekly pass options. And there are only about 2,300 spots available in that lot. Then you'll hop on a shuttle that'll drive you about 6 miles to the Dunes Golf and Beach Club. If you are planning on taking an Uber or a Lyft to the Classic, well, that rideshare drop-off is also at the Old Myrtle Square Mall. You'll have to hop on a shuttle to get into the event. And once you get out to the Dunes Club, make sure to say hi to myself, Dave, and the others making both this sports special and our months of coverage possible. For all of us here at WMBF News, thank you and good night.
Thank you for watching Classic Countdown, sponsored by these local businesses.